Life Maxers, and those of you who design your summers to be amazing, this one is for you.
In the moment I'm hypnotized. With every breath I feel the fire inside. Your love is like a wildfire. Your love is like a wildfire. A force I can't contain, it takes me high.
Ladies and gents, the IATA 50 Sunfinder. This boat makes no excuses about being fully optimized for Mediterranean summers. However, it's on a hull platform that, in my opinion, is going to expand your area of operations. This hull has been designed by Jaco Jamsen. I hope I pronounced that correctly, mate, if you're watching. Yeah. He's the Axopar designer. So this is a platform that's going to give you, in my opinion, a wider area of operations, but then ultimate relaxation, because this thing, it makes no bones about being a Mediterranean full-on summer relaxation. Essentially 3 to 4 months of the year, it's your home away from home, in my opinion. So in this video, we're going to discover what this boat is, and then we're also going to sort of talk about what it is not. And then in the next video, for those of you who are interested in buying one of these, we're going to take it for a sea trial and we're going to put the whole thing to the test. My name's Dan Jones. You're watching Dan's Boat Life. Welcome to Istanbul. We're in one of the islands just off the city, and this place, it really is a lovely city, and I'm fortunate enough, unlike last year when I was here, to enjoy proper Istanbul summer weather. So this is, I guess, fitting for the designer boat we're on today. So we'll start right here because she is a big, capable platform. We're running 3 engines, 3 400 horsepower Mercs on the back of this thing. She is outboard powered, yes, you may not have noticed because of the overhanging sun lounge, which we're going to get to in a second. But this thing, it's got 2 really capable social spaces. So we'll actually just start out the back here and explain to you what's happening in this space, because you can take a large group of people if you wish, but you could also run this boat short-handed and just go out as a couple if you wanted to as well. So for those of you who are perhaps coming from the big boat thing and you're trying to simplify your summers, or for, I think, perhaps the other group who have come from a dedicated summer Mediterranean style day boat, but you now realize you want more capacity, then this could be an interesting proposition for you. 2 cabins, 1 or 2 heads, and a separate shower downstairs. But this is social space number 1. It's massive. We got big, high, solid roof, which ends in this location, and then further aft, we're extending it with the shore shade, so we can bathe this whole area in shade should you wish. And I've currently got it in the full-on max social mode. So even though the backrest extends up quite high, that actually can drop down because I've put these cushions in place, and you'll see that in a second. The normal height is this location here. So if you want to do lunch, if you want to do driving underway, if you want to do what we're doing right now, this is the place to do it. This table will drop down and it will also reduce in size, and then you've got a grab hold as well. We've got a technical space underneath, which I'm going to show you towards the end of the video, but I like this. I've seen this on some other designs, and I think it's a clever use of the available space. If you just want to enjoy these drop-down wings, because now with them deployed, hydraulically operated on both sides, we're increasing our usable space. So you've got the operation, there's got a locking mechanism. Here you just lock or unlock, and once you've activated the power, it's just up and down. The locking pin goes in here. It's a proper solid pin, so don't worry from a safety point of view. And one of the things worth pointing out, this IATA brand, they go for high gunnels, high sides, and they've got quite a bit of flare on the bow. So when you're walking around, we're gonna go up the bow in a second, at no point in time are you going to feel like you might fall in the drink, because you do have quite a bit of protection from these gunnels. See, that's diesel in. It's not a diesel boat, it's a petrol boat. That is for the generator. We have a generator and we also have a gyro as an option, should you wish. So these wings, big fan. They haven't bothered with the safety rails. I like that. I think safety rails are ugly and you're just complicating the essentially the process for the day. If you need protection, just raise them. So it seems like a logical thing to me. We've got 240 volt or 230 in Europe for the AC and for the shore power just there. We actually can also open these panels just here. That gives you access into one of the manual emergency bilge pumps. Obviously we've got electric as well. And then we've got the same thing on the other side, which is going to be waist out. Here's the boat's cleat, perfect for Mediterranean style mooring and securing a line, but we do have the kid and doggy door just there. These little hatches here, this is an access panel, so that's not for storage, it's just an access panel. And then you come out, this is quite ingenious. I like what they've done here, and I think it's perfect for the Mediterranean. Possibly has some limitations in other parts of the world. I'll talk about that later in the video. But you've got a grab handle going out, and then we're actually open to the engine. So we can trim the engines up, and the engines are also open to the air. I would love if any mechanics want to jump into the comments and add some of their feedback on this, but I just feel having the engines open as opposed to boxing them up, like I know some brands are doing, it seems to be more logical from a salt and a heat perspective. Feel free to jump in and add your 2 cents. That seems like a more sensible, logical approach to this, and I like that. So anyway, let me know what you think. This platform out the back here is awesome. It makes Mediterranean mooring possible. It makes swimming more fun, and it's also just increasing our usable space once again. So if we operate it using the panel just port forward, we can actually raise it, and you may see where I am at the moment, you've got these stairs. So these stairs will either deploy up or they will lower down. So we can lower it just below the waterline and turn it into a bit of a beach club. It's also going to give a little bit more stabilization. However, you don't need that because you've got the gyro. And your swim ladder can be deployed on either port side or starboard side. Obviously with the platform down, you don't really need it, but it stows in its own custom area on the center line because it's a decent swim ladder with grab holds, and we can stow it on the other side. So Mediterranean, for those of you who haven't done Mediterranean mooring before, what they do in this part of the world, they back up with fenders on either side, and they have a ground line going down to a mooring block forward at the marina. And so what you need is some way to get off the boat. What a lot of boats do is they have a passerelle, so it's actually like, it could just be a wooden plank, but by having this, you then simplify the process. We do have a rub rail externally, so we can bump into things without damaging the fiberglass, and it allows you to get off the boat when you're at your restaurant without having to complicate things with a boarding platform, so it just makes life a little bit easier. I think this is essential, having the grab hold around here, and now that I'm here, I might as well jump up. There is a stair, so you don't have to jump up if you've got little legs like me. You've got a little foot pad just there, and you can hop up like so. And honestly, actually come around and point the camera this way. The view is amazing. Come and check this out. This is what it is all about. From my perspective, elevated up off the water, I'm probably 2 meters high here, and underneath the shore shade, this is the perfect place to be out of the wind because you're protected by the windscreen if it's just low wind, and enjoy yourself. And if you want to enjoy the sun, just retract the shore shade as appropriate to do exactly what you need to do. And I totally get it here in the Mediterranean because the sun just ain't that strong compared to the southern hemisphere, where we would probably opt to try and hide from the sun. In this part of the world, it's just fantastic, and I'd be hanging out there all day, so I love it. So covered all of that. Obviously the kid and doggy door is the same on the other side because we have equal amount of space. It is a center console, it's not offset. So same thing on this side. We can also operate the seat same as we saw on the port side, and give you more access out to the starboard wing, and this is the starboard wing control here. If you see these, that's for deploying a fender, okay? So you've got them dotted, including this railing, which makes sense for securing fenders with your traditional ropes. And just down here is your courtesy lights. You'll also see them as we move around the decks. What I want to do is, rather than covering the center of the boat, I want to go straight to the bow and then come back, because we can view this as social space number one, and it's massive, but because of the design of these IATAs, because they've got the flare on the bow, come forward, they actually facilitate a full-on social bow, and everyone can sit around the table, and another sun lounge. So this is cool. This is really cool. It is a design, because it's a deep V cutting angle with air steps, it's got efficiency, but it's also got stability. So this is a design of boat that I would run with passengers up here at speed, as long as I'm considering the wave height and the wave period. So if it's short and sharp waves, maybe bring some people further back into the middle of the boat. But in a big, wide area of weather conditions, you're still gonna be okay with running people up the front here. And just look how big it is. It's massive. So this table, as you may see, will close away. So we now have a grab hold. It will drop down as well. The angle on the backrest is actually perfect. This sunshade, it's fairly essential because you can get hot up here, but it's really, really nice, pleasant space. We've got this forward-facing seat, so it just becomes another eating area if you wish. So the kids might eat up here and the adults back there, or if you've got 12 people, which you perfectly could on a boat like this, you could distribute them throughout the boat when they want to hang out and enjoy a meal or do whatever they want to do. And then you also have another sun lounging area up here on the bow. Again, all the angles have been well considered. I like the grab holds. We have more grab holds behind the backrests in the bow there. And then it's all just, it's essentially perfect for Mediterranean summers. So whilst we're up here, let me just explain what's happening on the bow. So if you were docking this boat and boarding people on and off the bow, so whether you were, for example, pulling up to another boat or just doing med-style mooring bow to, this is perfectly fine. Just consider the height. It is going to be too high for getting people on and off a beach, for example, because we are a fairly sizable chunk of boat here. So I would consider that if that's your intention, you're going to need to look for some other solutions. So this is just giving us access for fender storage. This is one possibility of multiple. So we can definitely store a few fenders in here. That is also drained. Just pay attention to the pop-up lights of an evening. And our anchor system, we demo this in the next video. We've got a deployable bow roller, an electric windlass, gal chain to a stainless anchor. So what that's doing is, in the deployed mode, it's actually giving us a little bit more clearance of already good clearance on the bow because of the design of the flare. So essentially, it's a no-nonsense, worry-free deployment from a skipper's perspective. So the less that you have to worry about, in my opinion, the better, because you're going to have so many people on this boat. They're all going to be wanting to talk to you and they'll distract you. So the less you have to worry about from an operational perspective, the more fun you're going to have. So we do have the quick anchor windlass control in here, so we can do the up down from this location. However, we've got that's me operating it. We've also got access to do that at the helm, which I'll show you in a second, with a chain counter. So essentially it's not super crucial because of the design. Inherently, the anchor is not really going to hit the bow. That's navigation lights just there, and all the cleats, they're pop-up cleats, so you can keep the decks nice and clean. This sunshade's worth a mention. These carbon fiber poles, super, super light. So in terms of putting the sunshade in place, they've actually got a plug which goes into the deck mounting so it doesn't fill up with water, because you know the cheap ones, when you just put the stainless in and you've got a shirt on, the water sprays back up on your shirt and it's really annoying and sometimes embarrassing. So you just put your finger in the plug, pull it out, and then it exposes the hole. Then you can chuck the carbon pole in, and then the shade itself, all you have to do is make sure you get the lower distance or the shorter distance on the leading edge because of the design of the bow coming in. If you attach this one first, it's going to be really easy. I did it myself just before turning the cameras on. It's pretty no nonsense. Next thing, we do have opening hatches forward. That's going down to the accommodation. You'll see that in a second, but that can really vent the cabin below. You can AC this if you want, that's an option. And the JL audio, you'll see the speakers spotted throughout, which we're gonna have a look at in a second when we go backwards. I do want to talk about this roof, because before we go, just come and have a look. See this? That is actually a vent which opens and closes, so you can have natural air scooped up and sent on you at the dash, which I think is a good idea, because hot countries, the more air, the better. And then also you can close it up when necessary. And I like having it in that location because it's less likely to introduce salt or wet air. It's going to be, hopefully, not in a position where it's going to introduce that and send it onto your face. More pop-up lights just here. And all of these cushions, because it is an exercise, if you've got to put all these cushions in place, they actually have covers, so you don't need to take them on and off before or after every day's boating. You just pull the covers off, so it becomes a bit of a no-nonsense operation. And this is flexi teak that I'm standing on. It's not real teak, so again, you don't need to stress about maintaining it. Just hose it off. It doesn't really need a lot of attention from your perspective. So let's focus on the heart of the boat, and then we'll get to the helm, because I kind of skipped past this because I wanted to point out the two social spaces. They really are nice. We've literally just been eating lunch ourselves before we turn the cameras on, and it's so pleasant to just have this to play with, and it really makes sense for a Mediterranean summer. But I didn't fully point out this seat here. Again, when that's in, let me just open them up, the full social deployed mode. Everybody can be facing one another with the table set up like so. There is actually storage underneath that seat should you need. I don't know if you necessarily would, because we do have quite a bit more storage downstairs, and it's arguable whether most people are going to be utilizing the aft cabin for overnights. You jump in the comments if you disagree. But fender locations, this is the other place that you're going to likely store. As you can see, I've got lines in there now. Same size hatch forward, quite deep. I've been storing 4 fenders in there, multiple lines, and also covers. So that's a good location from an operational perspective, because it's kind of out of the way. When you're operating the boat, you're going to leave the helm and you can move around this part of the boat without getting caught up in and amongst all your friends. And as I was kind of touching on in the beginning of the video, you will need to think about how you manage your mates, because they're going to be super excited, because this is going to be a fun platform for them to spend the day on. But when you're leaving the marina, operating the anchor, and just doing some of that sort of logistical stuff, it's nice to be able to say to all your mates, just sit down, shut up, and I got this. Okay? Because the reason you can get it is because you can leave the helm, get to the side, get to the cleats, reach your lines, grab your fenders, get to the back of the boat or the front of the boat without really having to pass through any of your friends. So if you have a design where you're cooped up in a cabin, or the design is such that you have to walk through the middle of your mates, just imagine when they're all sort of half cut because they had too many wines and there's just stuff everywhere. You do need to think about that, because then that just makes your day, the operation of your day, a little bit more complex and potentially less fun. So this is where you're going to be doing a lot of your food prep, if you choose to do that as opposed to ordering. Actually, that was cool. Here in Istanbul, you can just ring up the restaurant, they'll make your lunch and whip out on a speedboat and deliver it by speedboat. So that's what we did. We didn't actually utilize the galley today. However, we got a Barbie just here and more storage, and we actually have fridge, second fridge. If you wanted another Barbie, I'm sure you could have it in this location. Storage and a bin in here. We have the single sink on this side, and on the next boat, this is actually all going to be Korean, which I think probably would lift it a little bit more. So I think that's a good decision. Behind me, we also have storage in this location. However, this is a pop-up TV. So movie nights under the stars, this is where you're going to be sitting, and that's your TV right there. I think that's awesome. Overhead, we have downlights in a logical location, so they are going to illuminate this table just here. We also have a couple more JL Audio speakers. This upright, that one, and then the other two, in terms of supports for holding the roof up, they don't provide any hindrance to your visibility. So from a driving and looking around perspective, we'll touch on this on the next video, it's probably the best you can get from a visibility perspective, because just look around. There's nothing blocking your view. It's super nice. So that's the heart of the boat. All of your operations are going to happen there. We have water in midships port, and we have fuel in midships starboard. And then this is your midships cleat directly opposite the helm. So let's touch on the helm now. What you do, there's two steps. Basically, when you're coming from the aft part of the boat into the heart or the middle of the boat, you go up one step. And then when you come to the helm, you go up one more step just here. So that's, just pay attention to that so you don't trip at night time. But you've actually got quite an amount of headroom at the helm. So you big blokes shouldn't have any issues. This is a boat, if you've already seen the 38 on my channel, I think this is built for Americans who are predominantly taller, bigger people, and they're going to be comfortable on a size like this. Some of the European designs, some of the French boats that I film are much tighter on the volume, and even I notice it as a 5'7" bloke, sometimes you're kind of creeping in there with a little bit less room to play with. So come in and have a look at the helm, because lots going on, not too many distractions in terms of the layout and the color. So we don't have any reflections coming back in our face for two reasons. The color and the matte, but we have an overhang, which I think is handsome, but that's also cutting any of that midday strongest sun from shining on our instruments and reducing our ability to pay attention to what's going on. But we've got two pretty big screens, not the biggest size, but two multifunctional displays at the right angle, good viz just there. We've got our phone charging touchpad just there. We do have the joystick option on this one, so we can press skyhook. I absolutely would appreciate that on a boat of this size, because I want to leave the marina and do everything myself. So I'm just going to press that. It's going to hold position while I tidy up the boat in the way I like it, and then we can get on and enjoy the day. You possibly will, more often than not, drive this boat on single lever. Because you've got three engines, matching them with the twin levers can become a little bit technical and not necessary, so you might as well just press the single lever, drive it like that, and enjoy your day. In terms of starting it, all you got to do is turn the keys to on, make sure you got your safety on run, and it's a single button press. That will do all three engines. You then have the bow thruster. You are going to use that from time to time. Even though we have the joystick, I would still recommend, this thing, it's a big boat. So you have a lot of leverage taking place and a lot of mass. So I would always buy a bow thruster or option a bow thruster, even if I have the joystick, just to help with that final refined movements at the end when you're coming into the dock. So I like to have the adjustable wheel here. That's handy depending on how big your belly is, to be honest. And then if you've got the spotlight, just pay attention where the location is. You know what? I haven't paid attention, so let me just have a look. Oh, okay, right. So it's up on the radar mast just there, which is quite a stylish design. I'll use some B-roll to cut to this for you guys to see. So the reason I like that is I see less propensity, see less possibility for that light to hit the bow and reflect back in my face. Because when you mount them in this location, often the beam of light will hit the bow, and just when you need to see what you're doing, it ends up bouncing back in your eyes, and it can become maybe a little bit dangerous. So I think having it up higher like that is a good location to put it. So we have our engine diagnostics for the Mercury's just here. We get everything we need, fuel flow, RPM, all our diagnostics can happen in there. The zip wakes, I just run them on auto at all times. Yes, this is a high performance boat if you want it to be. Yes, we can cruise around at 30 knots. We did 40 plus today, and I know the factory have done close to 50 on light ship, but I wouldn't advertise or sort of promote this as a super sports boat because it's look at it, it's massive. It's a full-on party platform. If you're wanting like the sportiest experience, go buy something 30 feet, not 50 feet. This is a yacht. This is a yacht that will cruise with confidence. It is a yacht that will go offshore. It's a yacht that will cruise at high speeds. But if you want like a motorbike, buy a motorbike. We'd be talking different things. So, well, I'll touch on that more in the next video. This is the VHF. This is how we can control the multifunctional displays. However, they're all touch screen, so it's just giving you an option. And this is fantastic. I love seeing buttons for all the useful things like wiper operation, roof lights, ambient lights, courtesy lights, aft decks. We can actually operate the anchor from here. That is the chain counter just there. The sunroof open and close, so that's the shore shade is what we're talking about there. We do have a defroster blowing on the windscreen forward, and the ventilation operation, I haven't got it powered on, but that is operated just here. So everything that you're going to be wanting to reach to for the operation of the boat is on a button, so we don't actually have to delve into a touch screen and get distracted. Sensible layout. Couple of drink holders here and here. I probably would like to see one more on this side. However, we do have a third one. So for the 3 people just here at the helm, you do all have one. And as you can see, we've got good amount of lower back support just here. It's a comfortable seat, it's a stylish seat, and then you can flip it up, and we also have the possibility to send them forward and back. So depending on how big you are, you've got plenty of space. Let me just push that all the way back. So look how far away I am from the helm now. So if you are a really big person with long legs, you're not going to be struggling. You can still utilize this footrest here. And then for throwing things, you can just chuck mobile phones and extra items down here. But what you may not see, tucked in the corner, we've actually got a USB, it's a waterproof USB plug-in. We have one on both starboard and port. So this is the place to charge multiple devices and have them out of the sun. I would only have my device in use up here and then all the others down there and out of the way. That's the vent that I was talking about before that we saw externally. So that's the air that can come through. But obviously it's a pretty open design, so you're gonna get plenty of air and be comfortable. Good grab holes, windows down into the accommodation and the head. Ritchie compass just here. I know nobody seems to use them anymore, but it's nice to still have them. And you can see the JL Audio speakers on the roof and mounted throughout the boat as well. Final thing that I didn't point out before, but it's quite relevant, it's this step just here, and we're gonna go downstairs after this. See this step? It's perfect for getting off on a solid dock or a high dock or your other bigger boat, which I know plenty of you are living that life, and good luck to you. I hope to be you one day too. So if you're stepping off with your fenders deployed and getting up onto your mothership, this is the place I'd be doing it. It seems like the safest location, and that step is perfect for that job. All right, let's go downstairs and check out the accommodation. So come on downstairs, you just open this companionway and you come down these stairs, but there's 2 different options. So I'm gonna explain that straight away. Before I do, just see the flow through in this particular layout, because this is the single head separate shower 2 cabin layout. So we have these little double doors here and it just flows through. So it is very pleasant from a dayboat perspective. I would personally be getting my mates to chuck their bags down in that cabin, have this open, it's all kind of works. And then we have this little kitchenette area in here. So this is what you have if you do the single head. However, if you option it with the 2 heads, you actually lose this kitchenette. The stairs come down on a bit of an angle, like a little dog leg, like so. And this area here becomes a wet head. So you do then have private head for the master and then the day head, guest head with separate shower. So you need to decide what mission you're applying to the boat, like always, and then you can work back from there. But the first thing you do is just have a bit of a look here. This is where your day is going to start. So all of your battery operation is just done here. Our genset operation is above that. And then our bilge alarms are logically placed. We can then have access to all of our pencil fuses just here. And our 240 switchboard is below that. It's all logical in English, so it's kind of no nonsense. And then you can essentially, again, decide if you go with that or not, but this area is always going to be laid out in this manner, except for whether you get the head compartment or not. So you come in and it's a beautiful island bed. We've got deep storage, so on both sides. These have got charging points in them and you can charge. That one is a little bit deeper. And then we have multiple USB charging points. We have opening ports. I'm actually going to lie on this bed to give you a little bit of a perspective. So heaps of space, nice little views out on either side through these hull windows. And we do have opening ports on either side for cross-flow ventilation, but we are also going to capture some forward ventilation just through this hatch just here. So that's possible. Yes, we can AC this part of the boat if you wish. And then I've got deep storage and a nice little bench space here for placing items. And as you can see, you can probably put your laptop here and put that on charge should you wish. This is your AC control. These are your light switches. And we've got a multitude of down lights and mood lights. There's actually hidden speaker in there because we've got entertainment for all of the cabins as well. This is going to give you a little bit of sound deadening, this material on the walls, as would this, I believe. So that's just something to think about. But if we are, let me just close this. And so you just have a little latch up here, which holds that in place, and then you can close that door. If you guys come here, and then I'm going to show you the day head, because it's pretty good in terms of space. I think it's essential on a boat of this size to have a separate shower, and look how high it is. We've actually got a bucket load of space here for larger people. You've got a nice little fancy matte black shower head and then a proper glass shower screen there. We're on the teak and you can sit down on the teak here should you wish, and then you also essentially have a wet head area which is drained, but it should stay dry because of the shower screen. And then you've got your vanity here, mirror, ventilation, and then you've actually got, I don't fully understand, jump in the comments and you can explain to me why this is the way it is. But girls, is that essential? Do we need that in toilets? Please let me know. I just go here to go to the loo, but maybe that is essential for some people. And I love reading your comments because you teach me so much stuff about how other people live. So maybe it is important to you. But this is our third fridge. So we've got 2 fridges up on deck, bigger size, but then we have this one down below. So we do have options. I do question whether there's space, and I think there is, to maybe install a couple more drawer fridges. I know you Europeans don't drink as much as us Australians, but in Australia, I think it's going to be popular if that were possible. So this is the guest cabin. It's super cute. So actually, let me just show you. I can stand up in here. So I know in some of the day boats you've seen on my channel, they are really, really crawl spaces. When you get back here, you have to sit down. I can pretty much almost walk through this door. Yes, I do have to duck my head, but then when you're in this space, full stand up, okay, I'm 5'7", I've got that much room above my head. So I think reasonably tall people can still get dressed in this space if that's important to you. And then you have a lovely little lounge space just here with heaps of storage, because hidden behind all of these are all of these lockers here running the full beam of this cabin. But then you've got all these throw spaces behind the bed like so, and they're quite deep. So if you were treating this as a long weekender or doing a little bit of an adventure, you might have your sailing bags, and I'd be pulling all the gear out of my sailing bag. I'm talking about those soft bags that you bring on yachts, which don't damage the interior. And then I would take everything out, put it in the various cupboards, and then throw my bags in those throw spaces. But we've got another cupboard there, also underneath the bed. And I didn't mention before, we do actually have drawers under the bed in the master cabin as well. Full stand-up mirror here, but you may or may not have noticed we also have a couple more mirrors, full stand-up mirrors here and on this one as well, which is kind of handy because I'd be going to beach clubs on this boat and I want to just check my shirt before I go out. So super functional, plenty of space and very livable, and I think that's going to be possibly the key difference on a design like this as opposed to a boat of a smaller size, which is just going to have the one cabin, or a compromise of accommodation. So whether you use it as accommodation or whether you use it as storage, that's going to be up to you. Okay, so the technical space is quite interesting. What I've actually done to prepare for this, I've removed the seat base just there because it does fold up if you were doing any long-term maintenance and you needed to have the best access. You just unlock these two locks here and then you just haul up. It's got two gas struts, but it is pretty heavy, and then it will stay in the up position like so. And you can come down, and I might grab the camera off you guys and then come and have a look. So I'm actually standing on a metal plate mounted over the seakeeper on the center line. Just forward of that is the gen set. But as you pointed out before, diesel in means we have a diesel tank on the port side forward feeding the gen set. So we're not taking fuel from the main tank, which is on the center line forward. It's a single tank on the center line. So when we look after that diesel tank, we've actually got the grey water tank just after that. You can see some of the battery chargers mounted and the raw water intake for the genset. And then as we move our way aft, you can actually start to see the crank batteries. That's got the yellow lid, because on the center line, the genset and service batteries are mounted on the center line in a box just to give them some protection should there be any water in the bilge. So that's a plastic box essentially. But on the starboard side of that is the other two crank batteries. So each engine has its own crank battery. You can obviously see the wiring loom, and then we're making our way over the starboard side to see the hydraulics. That's the operation of the platform. That's what's happening there. You can see some seawater strainers and pumps just there. And then now we're looking up at the blackwater tank just there. And if I just pan across the forward bulkhead, you can see the exhaust for the genset and then some of the separators up on the main bulkhead forward. And we do have this little ladder for getting in and out of the technical space. Plus it has both manual and electric bilge pumps, but the bilge operation goes forward as well in each compartment. I'll just pass this camera back. So you kind of got everything you need, plenty of space. I wouldn't necessarily be storing anything down there. It's more of a technical space, but it is important for the operation of the boat, and it's good to see everything essentially laid out and accessible as opposed to hiding them under a hatch. Come forward, come and hang out with me up on the bow. Yeah, so that's the boat. What do you think? Well, let's set you up with a nice background. How about over here? How about I sit over here? The IATA 50 Sunfinder. what is it and what is it not? This absolutely is every day of the week a summer boat, a Mediterranean boat, a Florida boat. What am I talking about? For those of you, and I learnt this when I started to travel a lot, I started to discover people in this part of the world, they have potentially more hobbies than us in the Southern Hemisphere, and they treat seasons like seasons. So they go boating in summer and they go skiing in winter, and they have all these other cool things happening. And I think it's inherently just what Europe is like, because all these countries are so small and you can just buzz around on airplanes and just travel and do all these amazing things within such close proximity. You can maintain plenty of hobbies. And so what I notice in boat design is that people design boats to fully optimize for this Mediterranean weather. So they're going maxing out on the sun lounging, they're maxing out on the enjoyment time, and they're designing their layout for hot, comfortable Mediterranean conditions. So that's what it is, and it's going to be perfect for that. What is it not? It's not, in my opinion, an all-season boat. I don't think it's been designed for that. It's not a winter boat, clearly. So I think you probably need to keep an eye on IATA, because these guys are moving fast. These guys are here to win. So I'd be watching them as to what's coming further in the pipeline, coming further down the pipeline, and whether we're going to see some more enclosed cabin styles, because this is very much a summer 4 to 6 months of the year, and then haul it out of the water and go and do your other activities that you also enjoy. I see for those people, of which I see many of you, you're gonna get max fun out of something like this. This could also be an epic charter boat, to be honest, because I'm again meeting so many of you with your own restaurants, hotels, locations around the world. And what I've noticed, people booking ultra luxury charters want to take out all their mates and they want a big boat. They don't want to have the smallest boat. And so something like this, it's going to be an ultra stable platform. It's going to be a dry platform. It's going to be a comfortable platform, and it's going to be a safe platform. So from that perspective, I see opportunity on this boat in many parts of the world for that mission. So yeah, and I think very clearly those of you who have done your time in a flybridge 50 to 70 foot motor yacht, and your life is now at a stage where things have simplified. Maybe your kids have left home or don't hang out with you as much, and you're not utilizing those 4+ cabins that you had on your last boat, but you are still boating, but in more of a day boat sense. If that's you, pay some attention to this boat. If you have a desire to do more exploration and cross rougher water to whatever destination it is that you wish to go to, again, pay some attention to this boat, because it will cater to that transit across the rough water, and then it's just going to open up and be the super sick platform that hopefully you want it to be. So yeah, those are the people I see. If you see someone else, if you can think of another reason, please tell me. That's what the comments are for. I like to read them all. I'll try and respond to everyone that I can. If you have already bought one of these or are in the process of buying one of these and have something to say to any of you other blokes jumping in the comments asking questions, please communicate. This is a community. That's what we're doing here. I love to see you in the comments and participating, because we're just here trying to help other blokes. That's the whole idea. And your wives. I'm not trying to just say men. It's a guy and girl thing here. So yeah, that's it. I hope you got some value out of that one. We're going for a drive next. It's a wonderful time of year here, so it's going to be a lot of fun. If you are a buyer and you want to get a deep insight into what a whole day could be like to operate a vessel like this, that video is going to be for you. So I'll see you there. Love you lots. See you guys. It's like a wildfire. A force I can't contain, it takes me high.